Hello everybody and welcome back to the second Simraceway Sunday race off, the final race. We're here today at the Brno circuit and we've already seen a dramatic race one. My name is Jenkins and with me today in the commentary box a very special guest in terms of John Hindhaugh. And John, what a fantastic race we saw in race one.
Loved it, loved it, loved it. What's not to like? Audi R18 TDIs running in close proximity around a 3.3 mile Brno circuit in the Czech Republic. I have to say I was very impressed with the standard of driving and the standard of racing throughout that first 15 lapper, to be honest, Liam. And when you say in the commentary box together, we should tell people that by the magic of technology, you are in Devon in the UK, I am at the Simraceway Performance Driving Centre in the beautiful rolling hills of Sonoma, and it all managed to work beautifully well, so well done to our techies. Thanks to Rob and to Simon for sorting it all out. And I'm looking forward to this next race, and it's for people who are perhaps joining us for the first time watching this. I know we've been running a few promotions for this. This is virtual racing, but it's virtual racing that has a real point to it, Liam, because we're talking real prizes here.
We are indeed. A total of $280 worth of prize money will be handed out after the events of today's race. The first place will of course receive $51, and of course the lower prizes will receive lower down the order. You can see on your screens at the moment the current point standings, so for those of you vivid mathematicians out there, will be able to work out roughly where your favourite driver is. Asaracola has taken 40 points from a possible 40, so looking very strong going in towards race 2. Razor 92 is only on around 24 points, so really does need to try and push on during the second race after a poor race to the weekend result. We've seen some underdogs as well, but we can also see sometimes if you take, for instance, third and third in each race, consistency really can grant you some really big prizes. So we shall have to wait and see how it all pans out and wait for confirmation, of course, at the end of the final race. We're getting ready for another 15 laps here today, and of course the big catch here, if you've only just joined us, is that it's a complete reverse grid. So the driver who finished last place in the first race of tonight's duo will start on pole position and then all the way back. So first place starts at the back of the field, which means Asaracola and Razor 92 start from 14th and 13th on the grid. Now, we've seen in race one, John, that overtaking around the Brno circuit can be quite a tricky task. How are the fastest guys on the circuit going to have to work their way through the field here without, risking something quite big?
I think that's a real issue, because even in that first 15 lapper, although the leaders got away, and you've got to say, Asaracola was absolutely picture perfect. Little bit of battling in the first third of the first lap, but after that, really, he was very measured, didn't let himself get flustered, stretched out for about a second and a half and just held the gap, it seemed to me, paced himself to the guys behind him. Razor 92 closed up in the last couple of laps but couldn't get there. And I think, you were talking about a field that was separated by less than 3/4 of a lap at the line, and I think it's going to be very, very difficult to make positions without putting yourself in a position of danger. And coming through the pack, even for the fast guys, as Atix there has a huge incident, trying to take a little bit too much curves, going round one of the corners on the far side of the track. I think it's going to be very difficult, Liam, to be honest, because although the guys at the front, as I say, did pull away, the relative performance difference, we had Paul Truswell here doing the average lap times. I think you would find that the average lap times over the 15 laps were very, very close indeed, from top to bottom. I can see somebody from the back maybe making up, maybe getting into the top 10, but unless something happens, unless there's some incident at the front of the field, if the guys at the front play their cards right, are sensible, are consistent, I can't see somebody coming all the way from the back and taking even a podium, never mind winning the race.
Yeah, well, nothing is for certain here at Brno, and it's not over until the checkered flag falls. There's definitely a lot to play for. And the main thing is here today as well is that the driving styles for some of these drivers will change quite dramatically, because say you've come maybe 4th and 4th each time, you've got a big chance to get some big points with the championship leader, or I'd say championship, well, the race of the weekend leader starting at the rear end of the field, and you start directly in the middle. You've got some big, big points to play for here today, and a possible victory overall of that $51. So, how do you approach this? I mean, do you go for an aggressive driving style and go to make up positions as early on as you can? Do you sit behind the car and hopefully, bounce off what they're doing and try and push your way through the field together? Do you play conservative? There's so many different options here, and it's all going to come to drivers' preference, and we've seen so many shocks here in the past in these second races of the reverse grid. They often tend to be some of the most exciting races, but it's all going to be down to the guys in the midfield, I think, today. Guys like Piratella, Van Panther, extremely fast, maybe even Fin 4 and Atix, who start maybe in that midfield section to really have the impact on the race today.
Yeah, you're going to have to steer me on this. Are the drivers allowed to make any changes to the cars between the two races?
I don't believe so, no.
Right, okay, that's interesting. So if you've gone the wrong way on setup, you're going to have to live with it. Very interestingly, Racer 92 hasn't been out in this warm-up session yet. Jamu has done a couple of laps, but in fact he's just coming around to complete another lap now. It's very interesting how people are using this session or not using it, whether they're just chilling out and getting their game face on, if you like. Van Panther just trying a little bit too hard and losing the back end of his Audi. Fin 4's the guy who's been pounding around. Fin 4 and Atix have been out there since literally the green lights came on for this practice session, and they've been pounding around very consistently indeed, just getting themselves dialed into what, as we mentioned before, 3.3 mile circuit at Brno in the Czech Republic, and it is a corner that has quite a number of different styles of corners. Turn 1, if you're watching the same pictures as me, Attic's going through there at the moment and just outdoing himself there and having a very big off on the exit of that corner and doing some damage. Fortunately it's virtual damage, and therefore he doesn't have to sign a proper cheque for that. That would really concentrate people's minds, wouldn't it? It is a rhythm circuit. It is a circuit where patience counts in terms of getting on the throttle. You can really bite off more than you can chew with these Audis. They're not the easiest car to drive. Yes, they have good downforce, extremely torquey diesel engine. They don't rev much, redlined at 5,000 revs, and getting a lot of power from 2,500, 3,000 revs all the way up to that, comparatively speaking, for a racing engine. But remember, it's a diesel engine, low red line. And I think this is all about momentum. These guys who are good, and as I recall, Liam, in that first race, I was watching him on board with him a couple of laps, and he's just a model of consistency.
He is indeed. You can really tell the amount of hours you have to put into practicing for these events. And he shows up every single week with the same attitude as does Racer 92, and they often find themselves towards the front of the field. So having these reverse grids really does make them work hard to stay at the front of the standings. But the big thing as well, you said earlier that different drivers using this session differently. Now it all depends on, I guess, the driver's racing mentality. Some drivers want to stay calm before the race and make sure to just go in there with a calm mental state and more importantly relax. Whereas some drivers want to try and iron out errors, but the thing is, and the risk of doing that, is if you're so focused on trying to find maybe a better line, or you think, well, I can go quicker through that corner, I'm going to have a quick practice and experimentation. If you do make an error, that's going to stick in your mind going into the opening lap. And if you've got that constantly going over yourself in your mind, doing over and over again every time you go into that corner, you've got more chance of making a mistake. So it's all down to personal preference and how confident you are within your own ability.
For those of you perhaps watching for the first time and wondering a little bit about Simraceway, you can find out everything on simraceway.com. It's free to join, free to download. You'll get a vehicle that you can go out and race with straight away, and clearly you can build up your experience, and the real world prices and the prices in Simraceway have a relationship of 1/10,000 in terms of credits and finite cash. The really quite unusual feature of Simraceway is the skill quant feature, whereby you can, if you wish, set up to race against people who are a similar set of experience as you, so you, particularly in your early career, you're not always getting blown away. And the other thing about Simraceway is it supports a huge amount of different control methods, be it keyboard and mouse, although at this level you'd have to be very good to be competing in that. You can compete with various joypads, and of course the SRW one wheel in association with Steel Series, and if you are of a mind, then you could have a full setup. I'm actually doing my commentary from a full motion rig, sitting at Simraceway's Performance Driving Centre here at Sonoma. But the choice is, as they say, yours. Now, we've got a minute to go in this final practice session, and I think everybody has been out. I've been trying to keep a little eye on Asa Ricola to see what he's been doing, but he hasn't been out the pit lane, Liam. But what he is doing is lots of practice starts in the pit lane, and that, for me, is smart thinking.
Yeah, it really is, and it's just, as we say, great to see the variation in the drivers' mentalities and methods going into this warm-up session. But the final minute now, just a chance to be able to exfoliate all of that pressure and emotion, especially for the man sitting on pole position. And it's really going to be exciting to see who ends up winning this race. You can see X-Varty there, just going to start-finish line, probably might practice a start. You can see mine up on the grid slot there, and again, as expected, just tries to do a small practice start, which is very crucial, because if you do start on that pole position, we said this before, you're on the outside of the circuit, which can be very crucial going into the first corner. So we should have to see how that pans out in just a few moments' time.
Yeah, the key is you're coming from the extreme left-hand side of the circuit, and you need to sweep across the nose of the guy up the inside. Now, that sounds easy, and if you've got a good start, then clearly you're on a far better racing line. But if you haven't, it's a very dangerous thing to do. You've got to make sure that the guy on the inside is prepared to give you racing room, and it really compromises your exit, and you can be a sitting duck going up the hill to the two corners at 2 and 3 if you have lost out on a bit of momentum. I think we've got all 15 cars back as well, even though we had a retirement in that first race, Liam, so that's good news.
It is indeed. It's great to see this strong motivation in the drivers to really recuperate and try and get some maybe redemption after the incidents we saw in race 1. The drivers wish each other good luck, and that infamous 30-second countdown we see here every Sunday race-off commences. The drivers sit on their grid spots with eyes set on the prize, and more importantly, the prize fund, a total of $51 up for the overall winner of this weekend's action, and is X-Varty, who's on that pole position. So the tensions are rising, as is the adrenaline, and the final 5 seconds get ready to come down, and then we await the illumination of those 4 red lights. So the drivers staring at those red lights, getting ready to pounce as soon as they go away. And we're away, and X-Varty gets a great start on the line. There's a bit of a slow start at the back.
Terrible start from Sean 24, just way too much of wheel spin. Sikam has managed to find himself all the way at the back because he quit and rejoined the race, and that's put him in a bit of a disadvantage. But it's Axe Fitley, Jebu extremely fast going up the inside of Van Panther. Attics in 5th position as they head to the turns 2, 3 and 4 complex for the first time, and Jebu driving very defensively, gets on the inside, might have got a little tap there from Extremely Fast, but in fairness to Extremely, he did back out of that, and that's Ronnie. Get up on the spinner in the midfield.
We've got utter carnage. Luckily, the rest of the field managed to avoid it. That was luckily, I think it was just Fin 4 that got caught up in that one in the end. There was a Cargo Wider Pro Drifter. We've got Asaracola there down in P11, I think, at the moment, whereas his rival in his championship, Razor, is up to P6. It's been half a lap, and he's charged into the top half of the field. He knows what he wants from this session. He's so determined right now, and we've got a real race on our hands.
And he's in clear air in 6th position as well, with Piratella behind him and Attics ahead of him. He's got a knuckle down now. I've got to say that he made a much better start than those around him, and he's used that to his advantage. He may be making a liar out of me to say that somebody from the back, remember, he started just 2 from the back, and it's already up into 6th position. He's used the little bit of traffic early on, and the top 5 ahead of him, you know, Liam, are absolutely together. So if he can get onto the tail end of them, settle himself down, it's not as if he's got to make those passes straight away. We still have not completed the first of 15 laps as Attics goes down the inside there and has a little look, and that's cost him some time and some momentum. And Fin 4 is out of the race, I'm afraid to say, after that incident early on when he could so nearly have taken out half the field. End of the first lap then, Liam.
And it has been such a open lap as well, and none more so than current race leader X-Varty, who's had the cleanest start he could wish for. He's got away in front of Jamie by 0.8 of a second. There you can see the cavalry coming in full force just behind, with Extremely Fast in P3 being hounded down though by Van Panther and Atix, and you've got to wonder for Razor now, as we were talking about earlier. Wow, it's been a down extremely fast, and that was almost extremely dreadful there. He almost ended his race. Luckily, there's a bit of flash of the lights, cooperation between the drivers, and it wasn't too much.
Look at Razor on the back of that 4-car train, extremely fast. Van Panther, Atix, that's 3rd, 4th and 5th, and Razor sitting in there, and you just get the thought that he's just sizing things up. Oh, and a little bit of a wide run out of the left-hander there at the bottom of the hill by Extreme. He's going to lose that position. Van Panther dives through the inside. He's got to park it now on the right-hander, otherwise he's going to give it up. That's great driving by Van Panther as he goes through into 3rd place. Extremely not giving up without a fight. Atix, and then it's Razor sitting in behind him, and Razor looks down the inside now, but Atix has gone wide, and that's going to be another position for Razor. He's sized through there. Can he hold it on the exit? Yes. And Razor now up into 5th. And how's his championship contender doing, Liam? How is the winner of our last race coming through the field?
Oh, he's not going very successful at the moment. He's up to P11, but he's stuck behind Pepino, and there's a big gap towards the rest of the field. We're all kind of bunched up a bit now, which isn't the end of the world. But Razor, oh, and that is a risky move. Great stuff there by Razor. He may not make it stick there. He's going to be hung out to dry. And look at the camera wheel trying to come through. Piratella, Strogafia, giving each other a push. Atix is there as well. And just like that, Razor, one tiny error has cost him some vital position.
Yeah, he's dropped in turn 1, he's dropped way back, he's dropped 1, 2, 3, 4 positions, I think, there. Just a bit greedy, just what I was saying, he had plenty of time. And he's got Piratella right in front of him now. There was a little touch there, I think, as they head up the hill towards turns 2 and 3. He's down the inside again. He tries to be late on the brakes, but we've seen from the first race this afternoon, Piratella is very late on the brakes indeed, takes a huge amount of momentum into the apex of the corner. So watching this battle now, from extremely fast in 4th position, then it's Piratella, Razor 92, and he got a little tap there, and that's forced him right. Strogafia is right in there in 7th position, and it looks to me as though pretty much from 4th down towards the bottom end of the top 10, Liam, is all in that one train, and that's great news for Asaracola.
It is indeed. Asaracola still currently in P11 behind Pepino, but it's caught right back up to this, and just as all the battles commence, I believe that's Atix has gone a bit wide there, and they lose a position to Pepino, and this is going to help Pepino pull away from Asaracola, who's effectively left in the dust for a bit. Pepino looks to the inside, and I think Atix may just swoop around there very nicely. Pepino almost squeezing off the circuit. It does a little bit, but does secure the position. So with Asaracola still P11, he's in front of Seacombe, but it's not going to be enough if he wants to secure this title here today. You've got Strogafia effectively bum-chuffed in Razor for a bit there. Really wants to make this stick. Razor currently back up to P6 after the little error last lap. But it seems for now, though, it's all kind of settling down, a little calm before the storm, as this hungry pack of wolves head their way towards the end of lap 3.
And as they go across the line, we're keeping our eye on the championship contenders. And Razor feels the need to go very, very defensive, right to the pit wall there to keep Strogafia off the tail end of his car. Slightly compromised his entrance to turn number 1, and he's got it all to do again as Razor, with Piratella extremely fast ahead of him. And 6th position. It might be enough, you know, it might be enough, but you get the feeling he would like another couple of positions to try and put extra pressure on Asaracola, who at the moment, I think, Liam, you're keeping an eye on him, he's still down outside the top 10. And I've got to say, I thought he would have made it slightly better progress than that.
Yes, but maybe he's done a very strategic game here. We're still not even halfway through this race, and with the field bunched up this close, there's no need to start trying to make these big manoeuvres, because if you're behind a pack of 3 or 4 who are all trying to squabble for positions, ducking and diving all over the place, and an incident does occur and you've got no time to react, it could prematurely end the race. So all Asaracola's got to do, he's got a big lead, so if he can just try and keep it in the race, and maybe let the opportunities come to him. So we'll see how this strategy pans out, but for now, this hungry pack of cars all heading their way down and showing no signs of letting up, he may not be in the worst spot in the world here.
Certainly one driver who has done his very best in the first 4.5 of 15 laps here at Brno for the second Sunday Challenge race here at Simraceway is Ax Fitty, and he has made the best of, well, a rather unlucky retirement from the first lap of the first race, and he has blitzed the opposition. He crosses the line now, and then Van Panther comes through in second place, some, what, 3.5 seconds behind, and then it's everybody else in third position, led by JMoon1. He's got Razor coming round the outside. Razor's already up in the fourth position. He might just lose that as he was making a very aggressive manoeuvre. No, he drops back in behind JMoon, so something has gone on there that I'm afraid I missed, but Piratella has dropped back. And he's got Sean 24 for company down in 6th and 7th position, and Razor's going for another position. They're swapping silver paint from those two Audis. JMoon1 holds onto his line and refuses to be intimidated as they head down towards the second set of chicanes in turns 3, 4 and 5, and Razor goes through, and that was a clean manoeuvre.
Extremely fast.
Follows him through, Liam. That's a bit more bumping and boring than I would have liked to have seen there, but I think we can call that just aggressive. But who's this coming through behind them? That's Sean 24. Oh, that's a huge one.
An outrage. That was Piratella who went for the move, and it didn't pay off. There was enough room. He tries to force a hole that's not there, and in the end, everyone else seems to take the worst prize. Pepino's off there as well, as is Atix.
Atix, yeah, and Asa Rakola, a marvellous piece of avoidance, and he's through all of a sudden into 7th position, and that changes the whole complexion of the championship fight, with Razor 92 up into 3rd position, and with clear air ahead of him, Liam, and he's chasing down Van Panther, and he will catch Van Panther with plenty of time. I don't think he's going to catch the leader, but Razor 92 needs now to get a wiggle on, because Asa Rakola has found himself in 7th position.
Yes, indeed, and that's exactly what I was talking about with that kind of method. Just wait for the action to come to you, and it played off significantly. He's up to 7th now, watching this Sean an extremely fast battle. Extremely fast has gone very loose on the exit, and it effectively handed Asa Rakola the position, and I wonder what he's going to do now to Sean. So Asa Rakola now moves up into P6. He's looking very strong here today, and I'm not sure Razor's going to realise whereabouts he is in the field at the moment, but now he's got to focus on what's in front of him, not behind. 1.3 the gap to Van Panther, and a long way left in this race, but still a massive 6 seconds between himself and Exviety. So we'll see how that pays off a little bit later on during the race, but he's already established a 1.7 second gap to JMoon1, who's now pulling away from this Sean battle. So while the action's sort of dying down a bit, there's still a long train of cars there now. Asa Rakola extremely fast, and Strogafia all still within very close proximity of each other, and the fireworks have surely only just begun.
I think the biggest problem now for Asa Rakola in 6th position is he hasn't got to get greedy. He finds himself in 6th position. Now, in fairness, beautiful avoidance. Who's that going slowly? It's JMoon. He was offline, and he's dropped the position. Sean 24 goes out, and also Asa Rakola just can't get past. He'll have to slot back in behind. I think the biggest worry now for Asa Rakola is getting involved in somebody else's incident as he goes down the inside. Has JMoon got a problem? Because yes, he has. There's damage to the right front of the car, and he's not getting that car to turn in at all well to the right-handers. He's really struggling. So he may have picked up some kind of damage in that argy-bargy we saw earlier on. So Asa Rakola now up into 5th position. Sean 24 in 4th, Razor 92 in 3rd, and gaining on Van Panther, and Van Panther goes to the pit wall. Van Panther goes right to the pit wall as he completes lap number 7 of 15. Not sure what all that was about, as Atix, after that incident that left him in the gravel, has retired from the game. Not sure what Van Panther was thinking about there, but he's clearly beginning to feel the pressure from behind. Razor 92 in a couple of corners time name surely must be in with an opportunity to go through, and it might be now.
And not only that, but while he's trying to battle with Razor, I beg your pardon, Van Panther, the gap between himself and Racing Akvati has come down another second, and Razor's trying to force a move around the outside. He's going to have to brake significantly later or cut back underneath. He chooses the latter option and has gone for, it's a very nice move. It wasn't to be, as Van Panther seals the door shut very tightly, but that gap still, despite all of that hustling and bustling, came down to 5.2, so a further 10th taken away, despite trying to force a move there. So great job there by both Razor and Van Panther. Now I wonder, how long can Van Panther hold on?
Well, this is great news for Asa Rakola in 5th position, because he's clearly stopping Razor with a quicker car, getting after the leader, but defensive work again, and round the outside, Razor very aggressively as they head down to the lowest point of the circuit. Now, who will give racing room? They both do. This is nice stuff, but surely now Razor gets his nose ahead, and he will not relinquish that position as they head back up the hill to complete what will be lap number 8. Now, has Razor got enough time to get after the leader? Well, he's not actually finished with Van Panther yet, who is really pushing hard. But Asaracola and Razor making an absolute liar out of me, having said I didn't think they'd get anywhere near the podium, never mind win the race. And Razor has done a phenomenal job. He's in second already, and now you get the feeling that he's going to just forget about Panther behind him, Van Panther behind him, Liam, and set off in hot pursuit of our leader.
He has to, one man again who's on a hot pursuit. Asaracola looks to the inside again, thinking better of it. No, he doesn't. He finally decides to gun for it. He goes
smart.
straight up the inside. And again, but the thing is as well, he was, oh, it's a car.
Oh, who's that?
And that was Van Panther.
So Van Panther made a mistake at turn 2 and very nearly picked up our...
Look at Sean. Going to interrupt you, Sean 24, because of that, wasn't able to get right back past Asaracola, which could cost him vital time there. So because of all that, Asaracola having to move out of the way dramatically has allowed Sean 24 to say thanks very much, I'll have that position for a few corners more. But look at the pack behind them now, we've missed this. Asaracola has lost valuable time to not only Jamu, but extremely fast Strogafia, and even Van Panther is now back down to 8.
Yeah, Van Panther clearly not happy with his car at the moment. Asaracola had what must have been the whole of his life flash before him there, because he had to do some tremendous avoidance. Again, this drive through the field has been characterised by him avoiding other people's accidents, and his reflexes have really been outstanding in this opening half of this second Sunday race. Renault, Audi, DDIs, and John and Liam on the words, with the battle for third and fourth at the moment, with our points leader, Asaracola, 40 out of 40, as he comes up over the start-finish line, gets his nose down the inside, but he's not there. He's not there yet, and if he's going to get it into the first corner, he's going to have to press, and he does. And fair play to Sean, who's hanging on the outside there, but he's going to be, I'm afraid, clotheslined at that point. He's hung out to dry, but he gets good drive off the inside curve. Now, who's last on the middle pedal as they come down to turn number 2? It is Asaracola, but that pass is not done yet, Liam, easy for me to say, as he's just about got it done now, and I call that pretty good racing from both of those guys.
Oh, it really was. Great amount of respect as well. Left plenty of room, but Sean not done until you can see just behind Jamu has got extremely close to these guys now. He's got the popcorn out and bringing a few friends with him as well. Strogafia and Van Panther, who's hungry to try and get his race back on, but you can see Strogafia, Jamu 1, and extremely fast. He's now at the 5th. So extremely fast is going extremely fast through the field, if you pardon the pun. He's done a great job so far. Can he catch these guys just in front of him though? Because you've got 2 very intense battles in the middle of the field. We're over halfway now, and you can see just how long is it going to take for these effects to start having a mental effect on these drivers, because they're pushing so hard right now. Who's going to be the first one to show a little lapse of concentration?
Well, the danger, of course, for Asaracola is the moment he passes someone, but at the next corner, if they misjudge their braking and knock him off the circuit, that could be his points lead disappearing. He's sitting in third at the moment with, what, half a dozen cars lengths between himself and Sean 24. But Sean's, as I said before the start of the race, he strikes me as if he can string a few laps together and get his consistency, just tend to overdrive a little bit. I think he needs to let the circuit come to him more. I think he's got more pace than perhaps he really even realises. Asaracola then in third position. Let's go back to the head of the field, where Razor has bridged that gap in just a couple of laps, and target acquired now between himself and the leader. It was something like 6 seconds. It came down to 5 when he was battling his way through the field, and now it's a gap that is something around about half a second in real time. As my apologies, no, that's Pepino getting a lap put on him, and in fairness, that's very good driving indeed from Pepino. Hindhaugh in overexcited shocker. My goodness me, it works just the same in virtual reality as it does in real life. So the leader then still has a decent cushion back to Razor in second, but I get the feeling, Liam, that if Razor can get his head down and make up some time, it won't be long before we see a bit of pressure. He can almost see his quarry now if they go down to the lowest part of the circuit.
Can indeed, and whilst you're talking of locking on, it seems Strogafia locked on and got the homing missiles out, because he has pulled Jamie 1 within reaching distance. He tried for a move, but it wasn't quite enough. He's definitely looking to be the more aggressive one in the party right now, though. Strogafia, who had a very good second race, but could not quite get the move done. Looking to make up for lost time and get it done here. Sits in 7th. He's got Jamie just in front of him, and extremely fast just in front of him as well. So these three still locked in battle, but Strogafia, again, after making that move, which didn't quite pay off, has lost a little bit of time.
And of course, all of these positions outside of the top 3 are really important. They're all dollar-paying positions. And aside from Razor and Asarakola, who are battling for top spot, really, 3rd position could go to any one of these guys who are further down the field.
It really could, and I wouldn't really want to put a blanket over them, because you still would not get an accurate answer as to who it's going to be. Any one of these men could really climb out on top here, and especially with the points now being more crucial than ever, every position matters, whether it's 13th or whether it's 7th, or maybe it's the race lead. Every position matters. Now, talking of the race lead, the gap is now down to a third at second gone. It's 4.3 seconds now, so he is reeling him in, but can he get 4 seconds in around, 4.5 laps of racing, really? Razor 92 is pushing like a madman right now, but he may have to do a little bit more than that, because catching is one thing, as infamously said, and passing is another.
18.5 minutes of racing completed. We're on lap 12 of 15, and the leader is still out there in splendid isolation, just a little bit ragged perhaps, going through the last complex of corners. Get the feeling he's not pushing too hard, perhaps a little more understeer into that Audi TDI than he would like, but we have now 1st and 2nd in the same shot, with the leader coming up towards the last complex of corners at the top of the hill here at Brno, and as soon as you can see the car ahead, Razor 92 in 2nd place will get a real fillip from that and be pushing even harder as they come across to complete lap number 12. The gap as they go across for, well, I would say that was under 5 seconds now, just by eye, but you've got the timing there, Liam.
It is indeed just under 5 seconds, but quickly taking a look back and touch up on that shortly. Strogafia again got very close to the back of Extremely Fast, but now under pressure from Jamie, who's got to be careful, and Extremely Fast ducks to the inside to try and counteract anything. Strogafia tries, oh, what a move! Got the cut back beautifully. Now that is driver instinct if I've ever seen it. He realised what he was going to do, but he may have lost that position before he sealed it, because Extremely Fast is coming right back at him. He's albeit going to be on the better position on the racetrack, and he's got it back there. What can Strogafia do from here? This is absolutely brilliant stuff here by both parties. Jamie trying to sneak through as well. Got to be careful not to tap that rear wheel if there's a mistake. They're line astern as they shoot down the hill now into that right-hander. Jamie looks out as well, and he's shut that door very briefly. But Strogavia's gone a little bit wide, and look who's joining the party now as well. Van Panther, a familiar face, says hello to his counterparts and gets ready to engage in war once again. But that was probably one of the best manoeuvres I've seen all day here. Strogafia up the inside of turn 1, was originally on the outside and just saw it at least about a second before it happened.
Magic still from these guys, and it looks as though Strogafia is having a look again. He's down to driver's left. It's the wrong side of the circuit. As Extremely Fast goes very defensively. You can take some through there, and Jermu 1 is just giving a little helping, well, I was going to say hand, but front wing into the back of Strogafia there, and this is the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. They're absolutely together. Piratella a little way further back, and we actually must check in with what's going on further up the field. I just don't want to take my eyes off this battle for too long, as Extremely can't get himself gapped from these guys as they go across the line to complete their lap number 13. Ahead of them, Sean 24 in 4th, Asirakola in 3rd place, and that might be enough for him, you know. Razor still trying to chase down our leader, who is looking incredibly smooth.
Oh, it's been a pleasure to watch all afternoon as we get towards the closing stages of this race. What can Razor 92 do from here? 3.9 the gap. I'm not sure he's going to have enough time. He's only got a few more laps to try and get this done. And unless there's a dramatic error from Axvarti, who, despite crashing out in the first race on lap 1, has done a splendid job of getting away from the field. And not only that, but maintaining a good distance as well.
I think, you know, that's a really good run from him, because going out of that first race so early, and then he doesn't have the rest of the race to, you know, get his race pace back up. He had a little bit of practice. He's come back. Obviously, he was off the front row because of the reverse grid, but the pressure's all on him, and he's done really well to just get out there and show what he can do. And he must feel a little sense of redemption here. Although Razor is still there and refuses to be thrown off. I think he's going to wish it was 17 or 18 laps rather than the 15 that we have here this afternoon. 13, we're on lap number 14 at the moment. I'm just having a quick look at Razor's lines there, and he looks very good indeed. Asarakola in 3rd position.
Well, look at Strogafia. Sorry to interrupt you there. Almost went off the circuit to make the move. That's why sort of interrupted. He's looking very a more changed driving style. He's become a lot more aggressive in recent laps, and he's definitely trying to show that here today after that splendid move in turn 1. We approach the scene here once again with the scenario being exactly the same. Strogafia chasing down extremely fast.
Woo.
This time Strogafia moves to the inside. Can he make it stick though, or are we going to see a mirror of what we saw before? There's a little bit of contact there, but Strogafia secures the position prematurely. Can he be able to maintain that though as they begin the run? This is generally the part of the track where a counter-attack is key. Can extremely fast get on the attack? He does. Oh, he does. That's way too late. And that's very aggressive, and I think Strogafia may say thank you very much to that. But Jamie One still a lingering threat there.
And he's trying to have a look at the inside, going out of the right-hander at turn 3, just over the brow of the hill. Difficult braking area down into 4 and 5. Taking, I'm not sure I'd be taking quite as much curb there, and in fact extremely paced. The penalty as he drops 2 or 3 car lengths back from the 5th place car ahead of him, and he's got Jamu 1 pushing him round the hairpin there. He won't like that. Now, further up the field, Sean 24 in 4th, Asarakola in 3rd position. He's not getting up the road the way I thought he would. If anything, Sean 24 is catching Asarakola at the moment, but we've only got just over a lap to go. Razor 92 in 2nd place will be kicking himself that he got held up in the minor places for slightly too long. He's so tantalisingly close to our leader, who is about to cross the line now and start the final 3.3 miles of Brno. And I think, well, he couldn't exactly kick out the clutch from here, but he doesn't have to do the fastest lap of the race to hold on to this. And Razor is, I think, now resigned to the fact, Liam, that 2nd place is as good as he's going to get.
It could well be, and a bit further down the field as well, Jamie just ploughed into the side there of extremely fast off camera. They don't seem to have any damage, but nonetheless, wasn't the most pleasant thing you'll ever see in a broadcast. Hopefully they're both okay and their cars are okay, but Razor, as you said, 2.9 seconds away on the final lap. Unless Axvarti makes a dramatic mistake, to say the least, to be catastrophic for his race, having driven 15 very fine laps indeed from pole position. He could ask for a better race, really. You can see just behind, whilst all the action took place, it's almost like the storm's over now, and now it's just a few nice pleasant waves with the odd occurrence coming in, because you still with Strogafia, who's put on a heck of a gap already there, 1.1 seconds over extremely fast. You've got Jamie still battling now with Piratella, I believe, who's going back on the inside for the undercut there, tries to get it back and swooped away, says Piratella. No, you don't, but a little bit of a twitch there as well. I wonder if Jamie's got something planned here. We've seen so many close finishes in the past that we may have to put all those on hold, because our race leader is coming in towards the final part of this track now, but Jamie's almost bump drafted him through there. It's been thrilling to watch this race all afternoon. Both races have been brilliant, but it's going to be surely Axvarti who's going to come over the crest of the hill now beyond the trees for the final time this evening, time number 15, and he must have the greatest feeling of elation right now. It'll be the longest lap he's ever completed in his mind, but he comes onto the start-finish straight, 2.8 seconds clear of Racer 92, and the winner of the 2nd race of week 10 of the Simraceway Sunday race-up, and he weaves in elation as Racer 92 follows behind and in an impressive 2nd place.
So, from non-finisher to number 1 finisher, a great run there from pole position, and I'm going to put my hands up now and say Racer 92 and Asarakola coming through in 2nd and 3rd have absolutely stunned me with their drives. I didn't think it was possible for them to make their way through the field. Now, in fairness, they did get a little bit of hands for some argy-bargy. Sean 24 has gone through in 4th position. Strongfair in 5th position. And some quick... I can almost hear the brainwaves of my co-commentator Liam working out the points here. But unofficially, I think Asarakola has done enough to hold on to his points lead at the end of the 2 races this afternoon.
If it were me working out the maths, I'm sure that either results would be wrong and we'd be here for quite some time. But I'm pretty sure that Asarakola has done more than enough to secure that. He's come from unlikely circumstance after starting from the rear end of the field to still finish 1 position behind his rival Razor 92. I'm pretty sure that after holding a massive points lead, that $51 of prize money will go to him. And just what a race it's been by all parties in the field. It really has been an exceptional drive. But, I mean, John, if there's one driver that stood out through both of these races to you, who would it be? Who's your driver of the evening?
It's a tough one, but I think you've got to say Asarakola, haven't you? Because he was imperious in that first race, showed he could do it from the front of the field, gapped the field to about 1.5 seconds, and then held it there, and rode his luck. I mean, you know, you've got to be good and lucky. McNish will tell you there's no such thing as luck, and you make your own luck. But I think he did enough there to, obviously, to take the points, but also it was some supreme avoidance in what were difficult circumstances in the middle of the field. Honourable mentions for Razor for that drive-through in the 2nd race as well, I should say. But it's got to be Asarakola for me today.
I think it has. I mean, the thing is as well, he didn't just do it in a fashion. He did it in such a strategic way. I mean, he waited. You saw, as we mentioned earlier, when there was a massive pack of cars from about 4th down to 10th altogether, he waited. He easily could have made the move on Sean 24, but he didn't. He waited there, and he knew the opportunity was going to come to him. With cars that close, with that many of them, surely some fireworks were going to go off, and he anticipated that, and he made the right decision in the end. You've got to take risks, and that could have paid off, or it could have ruined his championship bid, but nonetheless it was a great result for Asarakola, and I completely agree with you. So I think we're going to have a quick break before we get up to the official final standings, then we'll do an official confirmation of the results. But for temporarily, John, I've got to say it's been a real pleasure having you in the box here today, so thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I should say a word for Axe Fighty as well, who ran a fabulous race in that 2nd race, and he's got to be thinking, what if, after going out so early in the first one. I'm going to leave it to you. Thanks very much indeed.
Okay, well, thank you very much, John. So my name has been Liam Jenkins, alongside me, John Hindhaugh, and it has been an absolutely brilliant evening of racing here at the Brno circuit. We've seen thrills, spills, and just about everything in between. So stick with us and we'll get the official standings for you to find out who really has taken home all of the prize money. But until week 11 of the Simraceway Sunday race-off, we bid you goodbye and we'll see you on the racetrack.